So I bought a bigger case. I told myself I'd stay small, really learn the modules I had. But yeah, that lasted about 2 weeks. And so I've got 3 lessons I've learned in my first month as a modular beginner, and then a quick jam to show you how much fun I'm having. Stay with me. Welcome to the Five Dot Loft, where the process is the story. I'm Al Clark, and today I'm talking about what happens when your modular setup grows faster than your understanding of it. If you want to skip straight to the jam, you can go here, and please do check it out. I'm having so much fun twisting all these knobs. But if you want 3 lessons about what I've learned over the past month, well, here we go. And it starts with a confession. So I wanted my modular system, my start into this journey, to be like a very specific voice, rings into clouds. I'd seen so many videos on it, I thought it was really cool. But even before all that arrived, I had already purchased my Plaits clone, my Pleiades clone, the dual filters, and then 2 weeks later, a Red Means recording video pops up into my feed, the SDKC Helical. I told myself that this was the missing piece, the sound that I really needed. But I was already out of room. At 104 HP, I was already done. Well, the obvious solution, buy a bigger case. So I upgraded to the Tiptop Audio Mantis, which gave me all this new space. But of course, I immediately filled some of it with another must-have, the Qu-Bit Nautilus, of course. And as you can see, I don't even have any of that yet, because it just came in today. And so here's what this sort of chain reaction taught me. And you've heard it before. More modules does not mean more music. What I've learned is that going deep, although it takes discipline, is better than chasing modules. When you slow down and explore what you already have, that's when modular starts to become musical. So yeah, I bought a bigger case, but what I really needed was more focus, not more space, so I could start making music and not just figuring things out. And that brings me to the second lesson that I learned, which is figuring out up front how this evolving system that you're building fits into the rest of your music making world, right? So some people go completely standalone. Everything clocked and sequenced right inside of the case. No DAW, no computer. For me, I didn't want to abandon Ableton. That's still a place I want to create inside of. I have no burning desire to get out of the box. Yes, twisting knobs, patching is a way to broaden my creative approach, but I'm not I never want to use the mouse again kind of person. So I wanted my modular to join my existing system so I could record, use other tracks, and finally arrange a longer piece. So I decided that I needed a MIDI to CV converter, and that was essential. I needed multiple forms of CV, triggers, gates, clock, but all being generated by MIDI, by Ableton. So I think of it for now as Ableton is still in control, and the Push 3 as a controller is still my main way that I'm inputting notes. And for this, I'm using the Univer Inter, the Noise Engineering Univer Inter. Yes, there is a way to get 4 CV outs of the push. This thing has 8. But that also, taking it out of the push, it cuts my use of my audio interface and leads to a whole bunch of other issues that I needed to solve. Honestly, this part of the process was the most confusing because you have to make decisions about issues you don't even know you have. And there are so many different ways to do it. So here's the key. Figure out what kind of relationship you want between your modular system and your DAW, if any. Maybe it's your main instrument, maybe it's just one color and a bigger palette. There's no wrong answer, but not deciding is an issue. You need a workflow. And so for me, over the course of the last month, once my workflow started to click, I learned the third lesson, and that is record everything, well, almost everything. Because in modular, you may never find that sound again. Once you pull all these cables or even turn the wrong knob, it's gone. It's kind of like those big giant Tibetan sand mandalas that they just wipe clean. You know, part of the beauty of this is this sort of like discovery. So when I find a patch or a sound that I really like, I do a quick jam and record it, and that's where Ableton comes in. Even if it's just an 8 or a 16 bar loop, those little knob turning jams have become the building blocks for full tracks later on. For me, this is when modular becomes part of the songwriting process, not just sound design. Recording changes your mindset. Instead of just trying to make the perfect patch, you just capture the current patch and then just move on. So yeah, hit record often, capture those moments. But sometimes it's not about recording, especially if it's more of a sort of reflective or ambient vibe. It's all just about the moment. All right, so let me show you my current patch and we'll have a little jam. Okay, so let's fire this thing up. We'll start with the SDK Helical. I have the additional module, which gives me some filter control. Starts with the root and then starts adding. I should be an E-Dory in here. I've got the Rangoon or the rings coming into the Monsoon clouds. That's the second voice. Not really modulating anything from LFOs or envelopes. Just twisting knobs, having fun. Oof. Third voice, Plaits. No filter. I want to mention that all the sequencing is coming from Ableton through the Univer Inter. And what's driving it is this beautiful Max for Live device called Meridian. It's a Euclidean sequencer. Gotta check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. Guy's just building it out of his bedroom. It's so cool. much fun. So that's what I've learned so far. 3 lessons from my first month diving into modular. 1, more modules doesn't mean more music. 2, decide how modular fits into your larger workflow. And 3, record everything, capture the moments. For me, this is the idea that the process is the story. So if you like what's going on here, hitting subscribe would be appreciated. Leave a comment if you have some reflections on when you started your modular journey. Module journey. It is, right? I'm Mel Clark. This is the 5 Dot Loft.